Temagami, West Nipissing and French River. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking an area of severe thunderstorms that is possibly producing a tornado. Damaging winds, large hail and locally intense rainfall are also possible. Take cover immediately if threatening weather approaches. Please consult local media for more information.
As things heat up, advocates are looking for drinking water at one major encampment. Plus, the Sudbury senior remains in critical condition after his scooter was struck by a pickup at a busy intersection. And council will soon have to tackle if it wants to help the airport in North Bay.
So we obviously have to work on restoring passenger service to Pearson.
There will be a vote tonight on extending the subsidy to the Jack Garland Airport.
CTV News at 6 with Marina Moore and Tony Rima with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Marina is off. We begin with reaction tonight. Reaction from several Indigenous organizations across our region condemning comments made about Kashechewan evacuees in Niagara Falls. They were made at a recent Niagara Falls City Council meeting in which retired CAO Ken Todd was talking about the city's unhoused and vulnerable populations action plan. In it, he says provincial and federal governments are not handling the situation properly.
Niagara Falls has done more than its fair share. The chief and I have had several conversations over the last couple of months. As we speak today, there's 1,700 evacuees across the province. Approximately 1,100 of them are housed in Niagara Falls. To me, that's not fair. To me, this community wants to be Mr. Mayor, Vegas North, we want to be the jewel of tourism in Ontario. And unfortunately, a lot of the residents and people will see Indigenous people on the streets walking around thinking they're homeless people in this community, and they're not.
Mishkegawak Council Grand Chief Leo Friday has issued a statement in which he outlines his disappointment in the report, writing in part, "These remarks were very disappointing because essentially we have a municipal government validating the racial profiling of Indigenous people and false assumption that any Indigenous person seen walking around Niagara Falls is probably homeless." The Anishinaabe-Aski Nation has also issued a statement calling the comments disparaging and asking for compassion for evacuees. CTV News has reached out to the mayor's office for comment. We've heard back from one councillor so far who apologized for the comments made. In other news, a 43-year-old man is facing charges of animal cruelty after OPP received reports of a dog being abused. According to the police, most of the occurrences happened in the New Liskeard area. Investigators had also received additional reports of the same individual mistreating dogs in a public area. The suspect, who is of no fixed address, has since been arrested, while the dogs in his possession were secured with help from animal control. More than $260,000 in illegal drugs have been seized following a 6-month investigation by the Anishinaabe police. Police say Project Corridor uncovered drugs like fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine. Officers also seized 5 firearms and other weapons along with cash. The investigation started last December into drug trafficking in several Ontario First Nation communities, including Sagamok and Nipissing First Nation. 20 individuals have been arrested and are facing 78 criminal charges between them. An advocate for the homeless in Sudbury wants to know why the city isn't providing its drinking water trailer at Energy Court during the heat wave. But the city says there is access to water there in the cooling center with portable washrooms on site. CTV's Elena Everson reports.
These two men have both been homeless for about a decade in Sudbury. They say the heat makes living outdoors even tougher. They can access water at a few places, including the cooling center at Energy Court.
Access to water, it's sometimes available here on a regular basis, but due to the fact that they close down every night, we don't have water overnight, so we have to make sure we're stocked up and ready to go.
We need more water because we're dehydrated. We needed to get our system back into functioning.
This homelessness advocate wrote an email to the city asking why it's not using its portable water trailer at Energy Court during this heat wave.
We wouldn't let dogs go without water in a heat wave. And we're letting it happen here at Energy Court. That's absolutely terrible. This is a sanctioned site, sanctioned by the city of Sudbury, and this is how they treat the people who do not have homes.
In a statement, the city says, in part, the Go Give project intentionally operates the drop-in center at Energy Court from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. to provide relief during the hottest hours of the day. Go Give and outreach teams distribute bottled water to encampment residents throughout the day, while City of Greater Sudbury client navigators provide refillable water bottles to all encampment residents. It goes on to say the portable washroom trailer at Energy Court, which is connected to the city's water supply, provides access to potable water and is available to the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We went to the portable trailer and could not get water to come out of the tap. A woman who lives in Energy Court shows us the secret is to turn it on from underneath to get running water, but many people don't know that. She says the sink is so shallow, it's difficult to even fill a water bottle. Ellen Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
We're learning more details about a crash in downtown Sudbury that injured a scooter driver. According to investigators, an 86-year-old man was seriously injured yesterday afternoon when his mobility scooter collided with a pickup truck at the corner of Lloyd and Paris Streets. Investigators say the scooter was crossing against the traffic light, so the other driver won't be charged. Police say the man remains in hospital in critical condition. A major roadway was closed in Timmins for almost 2 hours this afternoon as firefighters were called to an apartment fire. It happened in the 200 block of McLean Drive. Officials say it started in the bathroom area. The cause is still unclear. Investigators at Last Word were still on site. 4 people were in the apartment at the time and all safely evacuated. Timmins Fire telling CTV News the fire got into the ceiling but didn't breach the attic, so significant renovations will be needed. 5 people in total have now been displaced. City Council in North Bay will vote tonight on whether to extend the Jack Garland Airport subsidy for the first half of 2027. CTV's Eric Tashner reports.
Passenger numbers at the Jack Garland Airport haven't recovered to pre-pandemic times. The airport projects the number of flyers has declined to about 1/3 of what it once was.
So we obviously have to work on restoring passenger service to Pearson. And there's been a great deal of effort put onto that.
City Council will vote on whether to approve an extension of the airport subsidy of up to $450,000 for the period from January 1st to June 30th, 2027. A city staff report finds the airport has been diligent in managing costs and finding new sources of revenue. However, major financial hurdles include depleted reserves, challenges with winter operations, and the loss of Air Canada's Toronto to North Bay service.
We have to ask for the backstop to make sure that we continue operations and to give the business and all those people that use the airport confidence that this airport remains open. And
up to $720,000 in financial support was approved by council last year based on the airport's estimated $60,000 financial monthly shortfall. It's projected that the airport needs $200,000 by the start of July and will begin utilizing those funds.
And is a priority for the city.
Recently, WestJet launched a seasonal flight, and regional service is provided by Prop Air to Billy Bishop Airport, and Bearskin Airlines offers flights.
Bearskin, they transport mining and business leaders into the north. So that supports our mining industry in town. It's essential.
Gardner says all in all, there are about 500 direct jobs at the airport. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
And the manager of the airport, Brian Avery, emailed a statement to CTV News saying they've worked to address the departure of Connected Air Services, adding that building success takes time. Avery says council support addresses ongoing operations. Time for our first check on weather with more. Here's CTV's Tony Rima. Tony, how's it looking out there?
Well, Ian, we have some breaking weather news for you. There's a tornado warning in place just south of Temiskaming Shores in through Temagami River Provincial Park, Martin River, also Martin River Provincial Park. Environment and Climate Change Canada says that storm is supposed to hit just in a few minutes over the next hour. High winds, there's a risk of hail, and it's getting dark across a big part of the northeast, and that's because this tornado is forming from the thunderstorms, and as a result we have collision between a warm front and a cold front. I'll get to that a little later in our show, but here's a live look outside our Sudbury studio. The clouds, well, They're rolling in, and it's getting dark out there. There's a thunderstorm warning in place for Greater Sudbury. Also thunderstorms across the broadcast region. More details a little later. Ian.
Thanks for this, Tony. Keep us posted and make sure everyone heeds the advice of first responders. There's more to come on CTV News at 6. For now, let's go to a live shot of Gillies Lake in Timmins. This shot coming into us courtesy of the city. They are gearing up for a massive fireworks display right now after the party winds down at Hollinger Park. Hopefully the weather holds out. We'll find out more from Tony, who will have more coming up. Stay with us. You're watching CTV Northern Ontario. Dynamic Earth will be opening its $14.9 million expansion tomorrow on Canada Day. CTV's Madison Merrier has a sneak peek from 7 stories below the surface.
From a 30-foot rock wall covered in projections explaining the big impact which formed our city to full-sized real mining equipment in the new expansion, Dynamic Earth is promising a more accurate picture of what modern mining looks like.
This incredible new drift that we're standing in right now, where they can see battery-operated equipment, full-size mining equipment that normally they would have to go into a mine to see, is right at their fingertips.
There's a lot of misconception about what mining is, how we mine, what the jobs are like. You know, people think the miners come out of a mine with just their eyeballs showing and their teeth, and it's not so. I mean, you see all the technology now, and we really need to change that narrative. We really need to, you know, own our past and accept it, but show the world that we've learned from it and how we can responsibly mine.
The Next Generation Mine Tour is hoping to showcase the growth of the mining industry and inspire the next generation of skilled laborers to fill in the gaps of the mining sector by exposing youth to what some say looks like an operational mine.
When I meet with the mining sector, one of the issues they bring forward again and again is that shortage of skilled workforce here in the mining sector. So this is really important. It exposes people at a very young age to what the mining sector looks like.
How much safer it is and how much cleaner it is, and the importance of that, because that showcases for young folks that there are great paying careers ahead of them in our area and in Northern Ontario.
Potentially 7,000 youth will be connected to what that industry means in Northern Ontario, what that industry means for the province of Ontario as a whole, and how we can shape this vital industry for this community.
The project was a joint effort between levels of government, community partners, and Science North. Politicians say it comes at an important time as Sudbury is expected to operate 15 mines in the future. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
The city of Elliott Lake could soon see its third CAO in less than a year. In a post to its webpage, city officials announced on Monday that Matthew Huff was no longer the chief administrative officer. No official reason was given for the departure, the city adding this was a confidential personnel matter and no further comments would be provided. Mayor Andrew Wannen thanked the former CAO for his service. Huff hadn't even been in the position for 4 months. It comes on the heels of a tough council meeting in which councillors questioned several expenditures on the arena project. Well, anyone planning on hitting the road on Canada Day may want to fill up their tanks today, the gas tank that is, ahead of an expected price jump. Dan McTague, president of Canadians for Affordable Energy, is predicting the price of gas in Greater Sudbury will increase by 4 cents a litre at midnight. That would bring the price to just under $1.64 a litre. Meanwhile, diesel is also expected to increase by 4 cents to sit at just under $1.84. The Ontario government is setting aside another $4 million to boost a made-in-Canada critical minerals supply chain. The funds will be invested through the Critical Minerals Innovation Fund to advance new technologies that attract investment. The announcement comes on the heels of a groundbreaking for the Road to the Ring of Fire. According to the government, that was 5 years ahead of schedule. It also comes as Canada looks to secure CUSMA, the free trade deal with the United States and Mexico. The mandatory 6-year joint review checkpoint, or deadline as some have referred to it, is tomorrow. Joining us now out of Toronto is Ontario's Minister of Energy and Mines, Stephen Lecce. Minister Lecce, welcome. Today, $4 million announced today through the Critical Mineral Innovation Fund to advance new technologies. What will this specific money mean? I mean, I realize there were previous investments into this fund. What will this $4 million mean?
It will back homegrown, made-in-Canada innovation to help scale the most responsible resource development taking place in the industrialized world. This is a way to double down for the people of Sudbury and Ontarians that we are firmly committed to homegrown innovation, meaning doubling on investing in the technologies, the processes, as well as the exploration methods that are going to help make that full finish supply chain that's made in Canada. And our Premier's vision when it comes to building homegrown battery supply chains, when it comes to supporting deep exploration, or likewise recovering minerals or innovation within the sector, at every level, we want government to be there to incentivize commercial ideas, to get them to the market, and to help make mining more competitive, more sustainable, and ultimately a job creator for the North. And we are anticipating 40 more mines coming online. It's these types of made in Canada innovations that are going to help us keep the sector not just competitive, but leading edge. There's a reason why Ontario has emerged as the best place for mining investment this year, because we've made the investments, we've supported a innovative approach to how we build, how we scale, and we're obviously cutting the permit timelines by 50%. Together, we're in a position of strength.
Well, speaking of the Premier, he was recently in the North here to break ground on a First Nations road to the Ring of Fire. I interviewed one mayor recently who said without investments being made into Highway 11, the Ring of Fire will destroy their roads with the heavy equipment and will pose an even greater safety risk to what some say is a dangerous highway. Now, I could point you to, a dozen of his counterparts who feel the same way. I'm wondering what kind of assurances you can give as the Minister of Mines that the concerns in the North about Highway 11 are being taken seriously by the government.
You know, the government is firmly committed to investing not just in upgrading our existing network of highways, making them stronger, safer, more reliable for the families that use it, the workers, and obviously the industry that's moving ore, forestry products throughout the corridor of the North. It's that we're committed to building new and adding more capacity and new roads. And politicians for the last 40 years have been talking about a road, the Ring of Fire. Only Premier Doug Ford and I was proud to be there, were able to get a shovel in the ground 5 years ahead of schedule. We're the only political party that had our vision a reality by working in collaboration with the local First Nations, all part of a broader plan to get moving on one of the world's most ambitious and obviously mineral-rich regions of the world. And so we are very committed to this. We're proud to have made this announcement with the recognition that we're going to keep investing in Ontario and Northern Ontario's Northern Highway network to make sure it is ultimately a logistics hub that moves people safely and goods safely north, east, south, and west.
Finally, I'm down to less than a minute or so, but U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, in an interview with CTV recently, said the U.S. is interested in our critical minerals. Are you hopeful this could give Canada and Ontario any leverage as we inch closer to that CUSMA trade deadline?
I do believe our critical minerals adds an element of leverage, absolutely, and I do believe we should be playing that card strategically. The United States and Europe and other democracies are looking for reliable. Ontario has emerged as the world's reliable partner, #1 in Canada, #2 on Earth for the first time ever, that we have arisen as the one of the best jurisdictions from investment because our government cut the permit timelines. We're building roads, transmission, infrastructure, broadband. We're getting on with building a serious plan to move our product to market, and to create roughly 70,000 net new jobs. So all in, we're firmly committed to working with allies. Our priority is getting the CUSMA deal, renewed so that we can move forward and obviously really leverage the beauty and the bounty of Canada's resource economy. But our first priority to make sure resources are owned and benefit Canadians. We really believe this is important, particularly as you see the Chinese and others try to buy resources and commodities, where our signal is we want Canadian resources to remain for the benefit of Canadians.
Exciting times here in Northern Ontario in our mineral sector. Minister, thank you so much as always.
Thank you.
That's Minister Stephen Lecce, who is in Toronto tonight. Let's head over to Tony now, who has a look at our current conditions. And Tony, it was a hot one out there today.
Thanks very much, Ian. Yes, hot one, and there is a tornado warning in place for Martin River, Temiskaming Shores, just south of that. And as a result, it could stretch into Sudbury, through the greater Sudbury community of Capril. There's a tornado warning, so Emergency Management Ontario says best place is your basement. So if you see storm, get out of the way and find cover. It's a hot one right across the broadcast region. Severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in through Sudbury along with North Bay. This system is going to be around into the evening hours, and then over the next couple of days, things going to be a little bit more unsettled. Let's take a look at our current temperatures at this hour. As we head in through Timmins, 21 degrees, same temperature in through Cochrane. Moosonee, 28 degrees as we head west. Chapelow's 25, Wawa 26, Sault Ste. Marie, sun and cloud, 28 degrees. Parry Sound, 27 as we head north. This is where it becomes a little bit more unsettled. North Bay, 27. You see the thunderstorms in through Timiskaming Shores, 21. Same temperature for Kirkland Lake. Just went outside. Thunder's roaring in through Greater Sudbury at this hour, 20 degrees, but a mix of sun and cloud for the rest of the communities in through Elliott Lake, Gore Bay, and Espanola. 7-day forecast still ahead. Ian.
Thanks, Tony. And we just received an email from one of our viewers. Hail is already impacting the south end of Greater Sudbury, so a lot to keep an eye on there. Next on CTV News at 6. The CUSMA deadline is fast approaching. Tomorrow is the final day for a review of the free trade deal. And Prime Minister Mark Carney makes his pitch to Canadians directly about the new energy plan. Tomorrow is the final day for a review of the North American Free Trade Deal 6 years after it was signed. But despite a flurry of talks and trips to Washington, no one is expecting major progress before the deadline. CTV's Abigail Beeman is following the trade talks.
The Prime Minister downplaying expectations for July 1st, the deadline for countries to decide if they want to renew the Canada-US-Mexico Free Trade Deal.
We're expecting, a constructive exchange. I wouldn't expect any drama tomorrow. I'm not looking for my pen.
While most trade watchers aren't expecting the U.S. to announce its intention to withdraw, the president has not been clear.
I would rather not have the agreement, but I may sign it. Right. But we do better as a country if we don't have an agreement.
So are you thinking of?
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe we won't be able to make a deal. I would rather not have the USMCA.
If any party doesn't agree to renew, it will trigger an annual review for the next decade.
I think the most likely outcome is going to be that discussions continue and we continue to try to find some kind of accommodation on these issues.
Canada's chief negotiator for the original CUSMA told a BMO audience he doesn't expect a deal in the near term, with a possible window around the November midterms.
There's a possibility for it to come together, but I think it's more likely that the discussions will continue beyond the midterms and possibly even into next year.
Steve Verhoeven and others say the key issue is separate from the CUSMA deadline: what happens with tariffs.
We haven't been able to get the United States to drop all of these additional tariffs that it has imposed on Canada and that are actually really devastating to a large number of Canadian businesses currently.
Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. will meet virtually tomorrow, with our country represented by Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Prime Minister Mark Carney addressed Canadians directly today in an online video about the government's new energy plan and revealed Canada will not meet climate targets set by the Trudeau government.
The goal remains the same, but as times have changed, we must change our plan to get there. We can't afford to restrain the growth of an important part of our energy mix, oil and gas, to meet a short-term goal. I want to be clear on this point. The changes we have made will mean that our emissions will be higher in the next few years than they were projected to be under the previous government's plan. But in my judgment, that plan was not sustainable over the long term. It would have been too expensive for Canadians who are already struggling with affordability.
In this 17-minute video posted on YouTube, Carney also connected his plan to concerns over Alberta separatism, noting the previous plan would have been, quote, too divisive. The Trudeau government promised to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 45% by 2030, a plan Carney said was not sustainable over the long term. A new poll ahead of Canada Day finds most Canadians are proud of the country but are experiencing anxiety about the direction it's heading. The poll conducted by Liaison Strategies found 80% of respondents are very or somewhat proud to be Canadian. When asked about the direction the country is heading in, 44% of respondents described themselves as proud but worried, while 30% said they are optimistic. 72% of Liberals say they are proud of the country, compared to 44% of Conservatives and 44% of New Democrats. The random phone survey of more than 1,500 people is considered accurate, within 2.5 percentage points at 19 times out of 20. The Canada Arm 2 is undergoing some repair work right now, about 400 kilometers above the Earth.
I see you've got your tether in a good config. I see it not tangled with anything. And I see your BRT is good. You look like you're in a good config.
2 NASA astronauts began fixing a joint on the Canadian-made robotic arm just after 8 o'clock this morning. The 90-kilogram wrist joint malfunctioned during normal operations in May. The Canada Arm 2 arrived at the International Space Station in 2001 and is nearly as old as the orbiting lab itself. There's more news ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Tony Reimer.
Thanks for that, Ian. Active weather right across our broadcast region. We still are under that severe thunderstorm watch. Warnings in through Sudbury along with Timiskaming Shores, North Bay, unsettled conditions. Also a tornado warning south of Timiskaming Shores, stretching into Temagami, Martin River, also Sturgeon Falls. Parts of greater Sudbury could see hail, high winds, heavy rain. That's on the way. And also the heat, right? It's oppressive. So as we take a look at our systems map, this is what's causing everything. We have low pressure, we have this trough, we have a cold front, and we have a warm front. So we're getting kind of a mix, and we're sandwiched in between. As a result, we're getting the warm weather along with a start of a bit of a cool off down the way in a few days, but also precipitation because of that front. And temperatures is not going to be red so much. So this indicates warm conditions, and things are going to cool off ever so slightly. As we take a look at our overnight temperatures, not much relief. In through Sudbury, 21 degrees, a chance of rain. It's a wet overnight forecast. Sault Ste. Marie, 18 degrees, should be a lot cooler than that. But again, we're in that heat wave, so you can expect those above seasonal temperatures. Moosonee, this is what you can expect, 18 degrees overnight. Cap and Hearst, again, partly cloudy skies. Wawa, a chance of showers starting to cool off a little bit, and Gore Bay 16-20 in through Parry Sound. Let's take a look at our 7-day weather forecast, starting with Sudbury Nickelbell. Canada Day, 32 degrees. Well, you're getting the whole mixed bag in there. Sun, cloud, showers, and a risk of thunderstorms. It's going to be a wet one over the next few days. We start to get some clearing Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Pretty nice, but it's going to be 31. Normal temperature this time of year is 24. As we head on over to Sault Ste. Marie, Canada Day, well, unsettled to say the least, and then the tide turns on Saturday. Looks pretty good, but temperatures above seasonal. Moving on now to Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing. Beautiful sunny day, 32 degrees for Canada Day, but over the next few days, unsettled conditions. Sunday, 28, we start to see the clearing. Tuesday, back to the clouds and showers, and of course a risk of thunderstorms. In through Timiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, 33 degrees on Canada Day, and then things start to turn around Saturday, Sunday. Beautiful weather to do an outdoor project. Tuesday, unsettled. And finally, your 7-day weather forecast for North Bay, West Nipissing. Tomorrow, well, Canada Day, 32 degrees. Temperature drops a little bit, but still overcast, chance of rain. And then on Saturday, 27 degrees, and then it ticks up on Tuesday, 29 as your daytime high. And our picture of the day comes to us from Edward in Shining Tree. He took this picture of the sun setting. He's out fishing. That's north of Sudbury. Thanks so much, Ed. We'd love to see your pictures. You can send them to us by emailing us weather.pictures@bellmedia.ca. That's your 7-day weather forecast. Ian, it's back over to you.
An Ontario man is making it his mission to give new Canadians and those in low-income households the opportunity to play hockey. CTV's Brent Lale has more on how he's making it happen.
We're just breaking barriers. We're providing kids the opportunity to play hockey.
Go boys and girls, let's go! Sav Neff and his foundation are providing new Canadians and those in low-income housing the opportunity to get on the ice.
Equipment, jersey, ice time. to see them love the game, to be a part of something, be a part of a team.
We're going to go around.
He had more than a dozen young volunteers helping these kids learn skills over the course of 6 sessions.
It's really fun. I love it.
With his parents cheering him on, 11-year-old Nico was improving every session.
Shooting, maybe like passing a little bit, and skating.
It's such a big opportunity.
New to Canada just 5 years ago, Sehanzi Kandri was thankful for this opportunity. Living in London Middlesex housing, she never imagined her son could play.
And this is the biggest fear of my family, that I have 3 boys, and we're just afraid to find out one of our boys interested in hockey, which is that's actually one of the most expensive game here in Canada. We got the ads in our board that mentioned that about the free hockey, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's amazing.
The players were a range of kids from all walks of life, just like Savneth.
I was a kid that lived in London housing. I played hockey with baseboards. We used shopping carts as nets. To dream to be on the ice, to play hockey is something I hope and inspire these kids to make that much of a difference.
And they all improved.
From the first day, they couldn't get off the ice. Snowman, and now they're skating across. You see parents cheering. Remarkable.
It's amazing for this opportunity, and he was so happy, and he just now very exciting what's going to be happening.
Brent Leo, CTV News.
Since launching the Bay Ghost City bus passes at the beginning of the month, the city of North Bay says hundreds of youth have signed up for the program. In an update posted to social media, the city says nearly 800 young people have already signed up for free transit this summer. North Bay youth between the ages of 12 and 17 can stop at the transit depot to register. The Bay Go Pass can be used until September 7th to help young riders take the bus to their jobs, community programs, or summer recreation. It's shaping up to be a very warm and fun Canada Day here in the Northeast as the country celebrates its 159th birthday. Here's a look at some of the events planned for the day around our region, weather permitting. Hollinger Park in Timmins will be hoping to start at 2 p.m. with food, entertainment, and kids activities. The main event every year will be the fireworks at Gillies Lake, getting underway at 9 o'clock. In Sudbury, the annual community get-together at the community arena begins at 10 a.m. with the Sudbury Multicultural and Folk Arts Association. Lots of food, music, and entertainment for the entire family. And at Bell Park, there's music, a kids zone, and all kinds of activities beginning at noon until 9, just before the grand finale with the annual fireworks display. The Roberta Bonder Park and Pavilion is the place to be in Sault Ste. Marie all afternoon. There's family fun for everyone before the fireworks wrap things up at dusk. And in North Bay, it's a day-long event that includes a road race, a farmers market, regatta, music, and kids fun. The city will conclude festivities with fireworks. Lots of things to do. I think I'm going to the one in French River. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. We now know who Canada will be facing this weekend in the round of 16 as Morocco advances at the FIFA World Cup.
Clothing provided by Laura, Melanie Lynn.
A thrilling day at the World Cup yesterday in the round of 32 with Brazil advancing from a stoppage time winner. 2 other matches went to penalties, including Paraguay upsetting Germany, as well as Morocco and the Netherlands fighting for the right to play Canada in the round of 16.
Saibari, not against Verbruggen. It's Saibari!
Morocco advances following a tense shootout after scoring a stoppage time equalizer to force extra time. The loss was disappointment again for the Netherlands, who have never won a World Cup. Now Morocco moves on to face Canada in the round of 16. It's a rematch from the group stage at the last World Cup in Qatar, where Morocco defeated Canada 2-1. Now Canada will look to avenge that loss and continue the country's historic World Cup run against Morocco. That match will take place Saturday at 1 p.m. You can catch it all right here on CTV, TSN, and Crave. Canada has approved its first generic version of the weight loss drug Wegovy. Health Canada has authorized Svimia, a once-a-week semaglutide injection made by Canadian pharmaceutical company Apotex. It's prescribed for chronic weight management in people aged 12 and older as a supplement to reduced calorie diet and increased physical activity. It's the first drug of its kind to be approved by Health Canada, which is currently reviewing 6 other submissions. A new blood product being developed in Canada promises to be a key tool in dealing with traumatic injuries. CTV's Pauline Chan reports.
This is liquid plasma.
It carries in it many of the proteins that are important to stop bleeding, what we call clotting factors or coagulation factors. The problem with the traditional ways of delivering plasma is it has to be stored frozen at a very, very cold temperature, minus 20 degrees, and then it is used, then it needs to be thawed out.
But Canadian Blood Services, in partnership with the Canadian Armed Forces, are developing a form of dried plasma.
A very fine powder that can be stored in a tiny little plastic bag and is stable at room temperature.
No refrigeration needed, just add sterile water. And it has a shelf life of 2 years. Colonel Natasha Singh recalls working in Kandahar, Afghanistan in 2009, where the benefits of dried plasma were dramatically illustrated.
We did experience a few mass casualty events while I was there. We did lose some people, unfortunately. We did, from time to time, we had to run walking blood banks where we would have pre-screened members come in and donate blood.
And it could have widespread civilian applications too.
This product can be carried on ambulances or with first responders.
Canada actually produced a form of dried plasma during the Second World War and Korean War, but hepatitis contamination halted its use.
The golden hour, which is typically people who have major trauma events, whether they occur in military or civilian settings, if you don't get blood products to them in the first hour, the risk of death goes up dramatically. We hope to have some of this available probably toward the end of this calendar year, early 2027.
But in order to make the dried plasma, plasma donors are still needed, so Canadian Blood Services encourages people to continue to make regular donations. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Ontario has some of the most expensive insurance premiums in Canada, and starting tomorrow, changes are coming that could lead to lower rates. Drivers will now have more options when choosing insurance coverage, but it means they could also face more risks. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
There are more than 11 million drivers in Ontario, and the average insurance premium is about $2,200 per year. The new changes give consumers more choice about the kind of policy they have.
In terms of having options and in terms of understanding your policy better from a consumer perspective, this is a great thing.
Under the changes, medical, rehabilitation, and attendant care benefits will remain mandatory. However, 9 coverages that used to be mandatory will now be optional, including income replacement benefits, caregiver benefits, death and funeral benefits, and 6 others. While drivers will have more flexibility when it comes to choosing what's in their policy, if they get in an accident, they could also have less protection.
Once you decline a coverage, you create potentially an exposure. So every time you say no to a specific coverage to save a little bit, you may end up paying in the long run vis-a-vis a claim.
Ensure that you're not just looking at a simple few dollars of savings.
Personal injury lawyer Nainish Kotek says dropping coverages that are no longer mandatory could only reduce premiums slightly and may not be worth it.
On the average, it's around $60 to $100 a year. So you're really not saving much by having only the basic coverage. And unfortunately, once you're in an accident, if you don't have that coverage, it's too late.
The changes will also have a major impact on who is insured under the driver's policy. Pedestrians and cyclists who might have been eligible for accident benefits before may no longer be covered.
You as a pedestrian don't get that. That's only available to the driver.
You should also be more careful about lending your car to a friend or family member. Benefits will only apply to those who are listed on the policy as drivers of the vehicle. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Entertainment is brought to you by Super Big Money TV Bingo. Join us this Saturday at 6:30 on CTV.
Summer movie season is in full swing, which means the studios are giving us our first looks at films due out at Thanksgiving and Christmas. David Daniel has a preview of 3 winter movies in today's Hollywood Report.
Don't tell Mom.
Red finds fatherhood is his toughest challenge yet in the Angry Birds movie 3. The animated threequel flies into theaters December 23rd.
Getting a business off the ground takes more than a good product.
Milton, you keep chasing perfection when maybe you should be chasing magic. This batch is
almost perfect.
Finn Wittrock and Alexandra Daddario star in Hershey, about the couple whose chocolate empire changed the world. The drama is due in theaters November 25th.
Thy soul is cursed. Thy kin are cursed.
Nosferatu director Robert Eggers returns with Werewolf, starring Aaron Taylor Johnson in a supernatural story set in medieval Britain. The film opens December 25th under a nearly full moon. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
WhatsApp has announced plans to address a privacy blind spot. The app users will soon have the option to go by their username rather than their phone number. WhatsApp says the change means someone would need to know your username in order to contact you for the first time. There's been no timeline for when the change will be made, with WhatsApp's parent company Meta only saying it will happen in the coming months. The Canadian economy rebounds out of a technical recession. BNN Bloomberg's Christine Lee has the latest data from Statistics Canada.
Canada reporting an economic turnaround, with real gross domestic product rising 0.5% in April. This beat economist expectations, effectively pulling Canada out of a brief technical recession. Growth was widespread across sectors, driven by a surge in oil and gas extraction, alongside long-awaited rebounds in manufacturing, construction, and Toronto real estate activity. Statistics Canada forecasts an increase of 0.1% in GDP growth in May. Here are some closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 70.48. West Texas Intermediate is down $1.25 to 69.50. Western Canadian Select is up $2 to 56.57. And the TSX is up 33 points today. Those are your business news headlines. I'm Christine Lee.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold up $8.16, closing the day at $40.1571 US an ounce. Silver up 26 cents to end the day at $58.83. Copper up 6 cents, closing at $6.05, and nickel up 6 cents, ending the day at $7.40 US a pound. Tony's back now for one last look at the weather.
Thanks for that, Ian. Canada today is going to be a hot one. Let's take a look at your forecast, starting with Sudbury. 32 degrees, sun, cloud showers, and a risk of thunderstorms. For Timmins, beautiful sunshine, 32 degrees. Sault Ste. Marie, same number. However, there is a risk of thunderstorms. As we head on over to North Bay, well, 32 degrees, sun, cloud, some rain, and a risk of thunderstorms. Parry Sound, 31 degrees, and it's still going to be hot and humid. 33 for Timiskaming Shores, and also a risk of thunderstorms. Ian.
Thanks, Tony. A 2-year weekly routine has paid off for a Hearst couple. Lucy and Mark won the top prize of $250,000 with an instant crossword deluxe scratch ticket. They told OLG they've been playing every Monday for the past 2 years. They say they plan to save their winnings for retirement, but also to buy a new truck and take a trip to Disney World with their grandchildren. Congratulations. Pizza delivery typically ends at a city's limits, but one recent delivery came from hundreds of kilometers away, all for a Sioux family going through a difficult time. It started with a casual post about missing pizza from a hometown of Windsor, but the outcome quickly took on a life of its own. CTV's Corey Nordstrom has the story.
It all started with this simple Facebook post. Sioux resident Dallas Reed inquired about a new pizza spot in his hometown of Windsor. Fast forward, the owner of the Windsor Food Spotters Facebook page offered to bring him his beloved Detroit-style pie when he learned that the timing for this kindness couldn't be better. Reed's father had recently undergone a 15-hour surgery for stage 4 cancer.
It's a very rare cancer. They said they've only seen it in 200 people in the U.S., and it's even rarer than that.
Sean Risk from Windsor Food Spotters rallied the community around the story, with businesses donating all types of Windsor food essentials, as well as thousands of dollars worth of cash and gift cards.
It was incredible to see the overwhelming support from the businesses and everybody throw their hat in. This is a prime example of how, when there's something good to be done in the city of Windsor, the whole city pitches in.
It means so much to have, your hometown, your whole hometown basically behind you, like have your back, like we got you. Like, you can't get any better than that. Like, what's better than a slice of home when you're going through something, you know what I mean?
After many pickups, Risk and his team made the trip to the hospital in Sudbury to meet Dallas's family and hand over the truckload of items.
The conversation that I had with Dallas's dad was incredibly emotional, and being able to sit next to him and show him basically the journey that we went through on the phone and show all these people that support.
My mom and my dad, they were in tears of joy. Like, they were so happy to have something like this happen. And it almost feels like a miracle. By day's end, Dallas's father, Chris, will be out of the intensive care unit and on his way to better health. Once he's able to, the family plans to return to the Rose City and personally thank those who have helped them in their time of need. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
That is amazing. As a former Windsorite myself, I can tell you there is nothing like Windsor pizza. And of course, we are all wishing him the best of health. That takes us to the end of our newscast this Tuesday night. I'm off this evening, so Amanda Hicks will be in the chair at 11:30. Make sure you tune in. We're also taking tomorrow off to be with our families and to celebrate this great Canada Day. There will be plenty of FIFA soccer for you to catch in our absence. On behalf of all of us here at CTV Northern Ontario, let me be one of the first to wish you a very happy, healthy, and safe Canada Day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you Thursday. Good night.